Hello everybody, it's Untitled here in today's video. This video today, we're going to do something fun today. Part of my horror event for October month. In this video today, what is your favorite scary movie? Since I'm sure a lot of you guys are watching scary movies and horror movies for a lot right now, with October, with Halloween almost here, I decided to make a top 15 favorite Halloween movie list of mine. If you have a favorite movie that you like, a movie list that you like, or specific favorite Halloween movie you like in general, comment in the section below, let me know. I'm going to read off my favorite Halloween movie, my favorite horror movies for Halloween, and we'll just go from there. We're going to start off with, at number 1, Halloween. Halloween is my favorite, one of my favorite horror movies, especially the original John Carpenter ones. The Rob Zombie movies were okay. I know the second one was not very good of his remake. The first one was okay. Very different story. I like the story adaptation he did with the first one. The second one was really one of the greatest. But the John Carpenter ones are my favorite ones. I've only watched the ones with Halloween and Halloween Kills. I haven't seen Ends yet. And from what I've heard, it's not very good either. So I'm kind of disappointed what's going on with that. But yeah, Halloween is one of my favorite. Michael Myers is pretty cool slasher killer and very classic, iconic character. So I'm sure, and I can see why a lot of people would like the character very well. And I would like to see Halloween eventually make a Halloween video game at some point in time too, like they did with Friday the 13th and what they're doing with Texas Chainsaw Massacre right now. Okay. Moving on to number 2 is Friday the 13th. Jason. This is basically the original Friday the 13th movies, which the mother was the first killer, obviously. Jason didn't really start doing anything till like second movie, and 2, we didn't really get to see that iconic hockey mask till the third movie. So, I really like the Friday the 13th movies. So, Jason is I really kind of messed this up. I think I was just kind of like placing things. Friday the 13th really should be a number 1 spot, but Jason is a second favorite killer of mine. I really enjoyed I really liked his movies and stuff. I think they're pretty cool. I think Jason X was kind of a no-brainer for a lot of people, but the kills were kind of fun. I think that was the only thing what was really good about that movie was the kills. The movie in general wasn't the greatest. Moving on to number 3 is going to be Nightmare on Elm Street. Now, I don't know about you, but I think Freddy Krueger is pretty creepy, especially coming into your dreams at night when you're sleeping or just sleeping in general. I think I think the way he just terrorizes and just the way he tortures and terrorizes his victim, the way he does it with his victims is really iconic and very very terrifying. I like some of the original Nightmare on Elm Street ones, mainly the first 3. Then when it went to 4, 5, and 6, they were pretty bad. And then for the new remake one that had Jackie Ely in it, which played the Freddy Krueger character, it was an okay one. It wasn't my favorite, but It is always fun to watch every once in a while, but there is some issues with the movie, and there's a lot of key elements that are missing from that movie that kind of took that away. But Nightmare on Elm Street is a third favorite of mine, and Freddy Krueger's a pretty cool killer, and just be careful, everybody. Okay. Number 4 is going to be the Texas Chainsaw Massacre series. I think I'm not sure what's scary, but like I always thought chainsaws are pretty scary and stuff too, especially people wielding them and stuff. I think the first 3 movies were okay, and I think when they started doing like other adaptations, they started becoming a comedy than they were anything else. And then of course they made a couple of newer modern day like adaptation ones, which some of the ones were okay. I think the one I have was one that came in like 2013, I think. That's just called Texas Chainsaw. That one was okay in like a modern setting and stuff. I have seen the one that was on Netflix that they showed. That one was a pretty good one. I haven't really seen a really good Texas Chainsaw in a while. And I think Texas Chainsaw Begins was a really good one too. I think that's what that one was called, right? I'm not 100% sure if that's what the title is called. That one's actually a pretty good one too. But I think some of the other ones that they have just were not the greatest. That some people didn't really care for. But moving on to the next one, number 5, we got Chucky from the Chucky series. I like the original Chucky series ones. I don't really care too much for the new remake they just done. I didn't like the doll look, but Chucky is a favorite horror movie of mine. Number 6, we have Scream, Ghost of the classic Ghostface Killer from the Scream franchise, which is I think Scream was kind of a cool one. I think when I first seen the Scream movies though, when I first watched Scream movies though, I think I was always scared of like maybe like the first movie. But I think as I watched these over and over and over again, as I watched these and kind of learned something from them, they really weren't all like that scary. I mean, they can be, but like, I think a lot of these horror movies, when you watch them over and over that you've seen, you don't end up being scared of them hardly much anymore. Move on to the next one. At number 7 is Hellraiser, the Pinhead character from the Pinhead killer character. I think for Hellraiser, I think I've only liked maybe the first 3 movies. I think the first 3 movies were okay, and then I think for the 4th one was probably decent. And then when they made more, they weren't turning out very good. But I like Clive Barker's performance character. I think his character for Pinhead was really good, especially for the first 3 films, because I know the newer ones were not the same one. And if you're asking if I've seen the new one yet with the new female lead, I have not. From what I've heard they say it's really good. I heard a lot of disappointing comments with the way that they was approaching with it, but I've also heard and seen some pretty good performance. I've also seen the trailer of it, and the trailer looks really good too. So this might be a movie to prove us wrong. At number 8 is Candyman. I always find Tony Todd he's a I, he's kind of an interesting actor, but he's also to me he looks scary looking. Like um, I always thought his movies were pretty good. Anyways, for Candyman, I think Candyman holds a pretty good spot in for a not only iconic classic character, but like pretty interesting killer slasher character for sure. Um, Not too much to say on Candyman. There's a lot that's different. There's a lot of not know a whole lot about Candyman. Know some things, but like I don't know. His character is just different compared to some of the ones that we're used to, I guess. Number 9 is going to be Trick or Treat. Um, Trick or Treat's kind of a cool horror movie. Sam is probably my favorite character from the movie to begin with, and I think a lot of people feel the same, especially the way how he is. One thing I like about this movie, I like that it tells 3 or 4 specific different stories through this movie, and you learn how they all follow up and how they all come together and what happened, and you learn that the next door neighbor was eventually the bus driver that ended up killing those kids. So yeah, it was kind of an interesting, yeah. Moving on to number 10 is going to be I Know What You Did Last Summer movies. Which is basically the fisherman killer with the hook, kind of like what Candyman has. I like the first 2 movies. I thought the first 2 movies were pretty good, especially for a '90s, and then I think the second one came out in like 2000 something. And then they did make a third one, but I heard the third one nobody really liked. But the first 2 movies I think were pretty good. What I like about it is I kind of I like the cast. I think the cast they had for it was pretty cool. So you had the chick from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I can't remember what her name is. And you had Jennifer Love. And you also had Freddie Prinze Jr. Had a pretty cool cast. And one of the reason why I like I Know What You Did Last Summer, it's like the fisherman character is just one of those type of killer characters you don't really hear much very off of him unless you know the movie. I feel like it's one of those movies that doesn't get brought up very often, and especially that killer, because he was a pretty interesting killer and he knew what he was doing. Of course, the story was about they hit this guy, and what they should have done was they should have called the police, but they didn't do that. They just dropped him off somewhere, and then kind of find he wasn't really dead. But yeah, to me it's one of those movies that you just don't hear very often, and I really enjoyed that type of movie. I'm not really 100% sure what the actual killer was called. I think they call it like the Fisherman Killer or something. At number 11, we have The Exorcist. This is the 1973 movie, so the original classic, iconic one, not the new adaptation, the new modern day ones, the original one, the one that started it all. I really enjoyed that one, and yes, that movie did kind of terrify you just a little bit, especially, I can't think of what they called her. I think what I liked from this movie is the creepy atmosphere it gives. It kind of gave me, some feel of like Nightmare on Elm Street, but just I kind of felt like Nightmare on Elm Street and Exorcist were kind of the 2 creepiest movies and stuff, and really kind of scared the crap out of me. Especially those 2. Like I said about The Exorcist, is it's a classic, iconic, and I think that's one of my favorite ones from The Exorcist. I'm not really too fan of like the newer adaptation ones. I don't know. There's just a lot I don't really get with those ones, and I just don't really understand those ones, I guess. But moving on to the next one. Number 12 is going to be the Conjuring universe movies. Yes, the Annabelles, the Conjuring movies, La Llorona. I'm missing one in there. I can't think of what it's called. Oh, The Nun. I think those movies are actually pretty good for what they are. For a haunting like movie and stuff, those are actually haunting, paranormal. I would assume you would call those movies. I'm not 100% sure what category you would call those specifically. But I really enjoyed those, and some of those did give you some scares a little bit. A few of them anyway, especially the Annabelles. The Annabelles were kind of pretty creepy in general too. Number 12, I'd say The Conjuring is another good one. The next one, number 13, is the Insidious movies. I think all those are actually pretty cool. I think going into the further is kind of creepy, especially that type of like atmosphere and that type of world and stuff. Kind of scary. All four of the killers that they had in there were actually pretty terrifying. I remember the very first one. There was a couple of jump scares in there that really kind of hung in there, especially the one in the first movie where it was like right behind what's his name. I thought that was kind of interesting. Now we got at number 14, I put on here a zombie movie called Dawn of the Dead. And the Dawn of the Dead one I like. I've seen the original one before. I really can't say I don't like it because it's kind of hard for me to place, because the one I'm used to watching is like the newer modern day one that came in like, I'm going to say like 2005 is when that one came out, but I liked the newer remake version of the Dawn of the Dead one that had like Ving Rhames and all those types of characters in it. I thought that one was actually pretty cool looking zombie movie. There's certain zombie movies I like, but there's also some I don't really care for because some of them are just kind of cheesy and stupid. But like, I do have a good favorite selection I like though. Moving on to the last one at number 15 is 30 Days of Night. So we got a vampire movie on here. I liked the very first one. The second one was kind of I think the very first one was my favorite though. What else? Not much to say with 30 Days of Night. It's a pretty interesting vampire movie. Especially in a location where you're at, like in Alaska, where it stays dark for like 30 days. So it's kind of an interesting movie and stuff. I think that's going to be it for today's video, guys, and this is my top 15 favorite horror movies. Comment in the section below and tell me what your favorite horror movies are. And if I didn't mention anything on here, I apologize. Comment in the section below. Tell me what your favorite movies are. Maybe what your favorite slasher character killer. Oh my god, sorry. Slasher character killer is. I think that's about it. Comment in the section below if you like this video, hit the like button, and if you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button as always. I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye.